Hello, hello, welcome. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am your host, Dali Rivera. You are listening to the Veterans Radio Podcast. We talk with heroes in action, making it happen for our veteran community. So I want to welcome all of you, whether you are listening to this recorded podcast or if you are right now listening live or tuning in on YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Amazon Live, or Facebook. We want to remind you that this show would not be here without you, and we also love to get your questions live. So if you are tuning in live and you have the opportunity to ask questions or even comment about the conversations we're having, please do so. We love to see your comments. Our guest today is going to be Patrick Imperato, managing partner at Tala Partners. But first, we're going to start with our founder, Joe Molina, and our in-house attorney, Kelly Bagla with Bagla Law. Welcome, Joan. Welcome, Kelly. How are you?
Always fantastic, darling. Lovely to see you.
Me too. Me too. I feel like the trio's back. It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the
So
weather is better, so we can all get together and chit chat again.
yeah, definitely. So we have an interesting topic. Joe, this was your idea. You want to go ahead and kick it off?
Well, yes, with Kelly, we always have interesting topics, and Dali, you've been such a great host. You always have such an amazing questions. So always love your questions.
Thank you.
And before we get started, I know Kelly has a disclaimer that we have to say every time. So with that, I'll let you go, Kelly.
Thank you. The information that we share on the show is only for informational purposes. It does not create an attorney-client privilege. And if you would like further information on a private line, definitely contact baglalaw.com, or you can always give us a call at 760-579-6789. By the way, Darlie, why was 6 afraid of 7?
Why?
Because 789.
Oh, you know what? I knew that.
I'm so sorry to all the listeners out there. I'm so sorry. I had to do it, Dolly. I had to do it. That's our phone number, right? 6789.
That was so good. It's so cheesy. It's so good. I love it.
Exactly. It never
Right.
gets old. Yes.
That was perfect. And that was an amazing joke, Kelly. And also, just for our listeners, Kelly is our favorite um, uh,
Absolutely.
business attorney and is the best attorney I ever known. And I say it with all my heart and truthful about it. And so, if any of our listeners have any type of business question, Kelly is the one to talk to. With that, today we're talking the second uh, section of our um, real property fund and how this amazing program works. And so we did an introduction last episode, and today we want to talk about, well, if we are setting up a fund, how does the fund get funded and how people can participate, because the main purpose of this fund is to help military families, help low income families, single parents access the American dream. As we were talking about earlier, the American dream keeps moving farther and farther away for so many people for many reasons. Investors, institutional investors are buying properties, so that they're limiting the way individual people buy properties, and they become way, way expensive. So, but what if there was a way that we can work together, get families together, and participate on a fund that will simplify the process? How would that look like? And for that, we'd like to, ask, for Kelly to share her perspective and kind of guide us through the process. So,
Joe, I'm a huge proponent of everyone should be living the American dream. Everyone. Clearly, from my accent, I wasn't born and raised here in America. I was born and raised in England. England is not a third world country. However, I would not have gotten the opportunities that I've received here in America. And the fact that Americans that are born and raised here, they don't see these opportunities. It blows my mind. It really does, because these opportunities are literally everywhere. And what I absolutely love about the Real Property Fund, the founder is Joe Molina. The creator of the concept is Joe Molina. And what Joe has done, he's literally giving an opportunity to anyone that wants to own real property. There are different ways. As the world is changing, we also have to change with it, and we have to come up with creative ideas, obviously all within the law. And this idea is absolutely brilliant because it can help. It's available for grandparents to participate, for parents to participate, for rich aunts and uncles to participate. So if anyone say they have a daughter or a son that is a veteran or working, is part of the blue line, if you will, or nursing and what have you, and they just need help with either a down payment for the house. We can, this is what the Real Property Fund does, right? So what it does, it will say, okay, we are going to bring investors together. Those investors, these are all examples, by the way, guys, all examples. Say we're going to help Dolly. Dolly is a fantastic vet. She's worked all of her life, and now she's ready to actually purchase her own home. However, she doesn't have the 20% that is required to put down. The fund is where you have investors that can invest up to $10,000. Again, these are all examples. So now we go out and find 10 people that have $10,000. Add all that up, you're looking at $100,000 with 10 people. That could be a down payment for Dolly to put down on her home. Now, those 10 investors can be made up of Dolly's friends. They could be made up of Dolly's parents, her family, or even other associates that she may know. So if there are other vets that want to do the same thing, and obviously these potential homeowners would have to qualify. They would have to pre-qualify in order for them to be considered. And so it's the funds can come from family members or friends or associates. These funds you can either put them on a credit card. $10,000 on a credit card nowadays is absolutely nothing. So you can pay that off as time goes by. You can actually get even $10,000 from a retirement account, a 401k account. There's so many different strategies that retirement accounts can play a big part into gaining access. And there are, obviously, you can even get a loan. Nowadays, you can get a loan for 10,000, and the interest rate is pretty low for that as well. So when it comes to being an investor and actually getting hands on your funds, it's not that difficult anymore, Joe and Dolly. I mean, 10,000, to tell you the truth, it doesn't really get you much nowadays at all. But the fact that you're going to help someone that you love, someone that you know, and you're going to secure them for their future. And this is what grandparents always want to do, right? They always want to leave something for the grandkids. But what about investing in real property? So now they know exactly that's going to help secure the grandchild's future, and that money's just not going to be blown away on some sort of fast race car. I'm just saying. So
Well,
that,
and
go ahead,
go ahead.
Joe.
I was going to say, and that could actually happen.
It does happen. It happens all the time. It really does. And because of what we do at the firm, we form businesses and we help protect assets. And part of that is we obviously, once you have a company, a corporation, LLC, it becomes an asset, and therefore you need to at least form a living trust to protect your assets from probate. And as we provide these services to our clients, I have seen the gamut, Joe. I have seen
Mm.
clients to say, I'm going to control each and every penny from the grave. And some clients are saying, I don't care, just give it all away. So it really is a huge difference as to how people want to control the money. But again, this is an incredible way for anyone to help their loved ones to at least put one foot in towards achieving the American dream.
Yes. Thank you. Yes,
I have
Dali.
questions. You know me. Okay, so if I'm giving the $10,000 to help somebody out, how do I get my return on my investment?
Perfect. So, Dali, that money, the investors, they would put it into a fund. The fund is managed by Joe. It's managed by professionals, and the fund is what is going to invest into the homeowner. So the fund will actually become part of the not the homeowner, not on title, but it will have to be paid back. So basically, the fund part you're looking at, it could be, let's treat it as a second mortgage, if you will,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
So so now you know that okay, your payment is secured by real property, and let's say that in 5 years we're going to refinance, or in 10 years, or nowadays the real estate market is going up every single day. Say you want to refinance in 1 year. Well, out of that refinance at any time, Dolly, the investment part is going to be paid back first. So, as the investor, that's when you would get your return on your capital. And keep in mind, this is not a fast way to make money. It's really more of a for a person that has a giving heart, someone that really wants to help them. They're not really focused on the money part, but absolutely, as an investor, your investment will be secured 100%, and it will be paid back. And what that looks like will obviously it can look very different for different investors as well.
Okay.
And,
Yeah. So
you
then
know,
upon me giving the $10,000, then I would know within how many years I could possibly get my return on investment. So
right.
Right.
that's why it
So
would be for everybody. Okay.
exactly, yes, and that's the big this is something that each and every investor should know before investing, obviously. And these are our disclosures, and these are going to be part of the risk factors that we share with the investors as well. This is not a quick and easy, I'm going to get rich scheme. This is for helping people first. That's what this is about.
And also to add to that is us, because we're investing on a person, on a home ownership, the return as you as an investor is based on the equity value of the property over time. So if the property is, say the initial agreement, let's say is 5 years as an example, 5 years. So whatever the property earns on equity in 5 years, then as an investor, all the investors share that gain on that property. But the ownership always stays with the homeowner. So the rest of the time is their time. It's a beautiful program.
And the other beautiful part about that too, Dolly, is that the homeowner can do whatever they want with the house, right? They can decorate it. They can it's theirs. It's their real property. We're just helping them, just like the bank would, but without going through blood, sweat, and tears and handing over your firstborn, right? We're just trying to make it easier
Right.
now for the ones that we love.
Yeah, and I see so much potential with this type of investment opportunity for people who even want to kind of like get started with investing, because it sounds like it's a pretty secure way to do it. Not anything super crazy. You're being told, hey, this is not a what is it, get rich quick scheme. You have to be patient. You have to know that your 10 grand are going to be, like paid back like much later. And you're probably going to learn a lot from this. So if anybody's listening, how do we get a hold of Joe? How do we, start dabbling into getting some more information about possibly really becoming an investor? Or if I'm a homeowner, can I also reach out to Joe, or should I be somebody else?
Well, to answer
Absolutely.
that question is, absolutely. Kelly and I are available, and they can reach out directly to me, or they can contact Kelly and ask their questions, because you know who's Joe? I mean, no one, right? But everyone will trust Kelly. So, like, if they have, they want to make sure that this is legit, straightforward program, Then they have the assurance of Kelly, like this is the way it's going to work, and they will be working with Kelly to set up all the contracts and agreements. Kelly has set up the escrow account for people to deposit the funds. So so I want people to be sure, like you as an investor, that you'll be talking to a professional, to an attorney who knows how to do this properly. And I just help with the process and the other part. But whether you are a homeowner wanting seeking this assistance, or you're an investor wanting to participate, and you're a veteran or non-veteran, then you can contact us directly or contact Kelly directly.
Great. Thank
Joe,
you.
you're so humble. We just love you. You're so
Yes.
humble. You're the CEO of the National Veterans Chamber of Commerce. So
Mhm.
yes, you are somebody.
Yes, I know when he said that, like he is crazy.
Very, very
Me
humble,
too.
Joe. Very humble.
Very. Don't, yeah. You're a big deal, Joe. That's why we have you here, and we love working with you. But I
Well,
hope
thank
that
you.
people take advantage of this. And thank you, Joe, for creating this, because I know that you're not creating it like to get rich or anything. You're doing it mainly to help because you see that there is an issue with housing with our military families. So I appreciate it. And of course, you too, as well, Kelly. You've been amazing. I never tire of like just learning so much stuff from you, and I can't wait to have you back again. So we're gonna end the legal segment now. So thank you so much, both of you. I'm gonna bring in now our guest speaker, Patrick Imperado, and I wish you both a wonderful weekend. So Patrick, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dolly, Patrick. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for making time to come and share your knowledge and your resources with us. So tell us a little bit about your military background.
Yeah, so absolutely. I spent a little over 11 years in the Navy. I was an F-18 pilot, and I flew F-18s as well as F-5s over that period of time, traveled and got deployed, and, was able to live that little boy's life and kind of fulfill that little boy's dream. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Like I said earlier before the show, I have seen what y'all do and it is incredible. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
It's just really cool. You're gonna have some really good, I mean, you already have some really good stories to tell, but I was gonna say like when you're older with your grandkids and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me, how did you transition from being a pilot to being, a managing partner at Tala Partners?
Yeah, absolutely. So Dolly, I knew that I wanted to be a fighter pilot since I've been 6 years old, since I was, super
Mm.
young. And I found that track and really was focused and dedicated to achieving that goal or kind of finding that outcome. And what I learned along the way really informed my transition afterwards. So one of the things growing up, being a 6-year-old boy in Chicago, was I didn't have a lot of exposure to people that were actually pilots in the Navy or pilots in the military at all. And so when I achieved that goal, when I was able to actually fulfill that dream, what I recognized is that I didn't want to do this for the next 10, 20 years of my life, that I wanted something different, that I had fulfilled kind of that part of my soul. And so that started my exploration in searching for firsthand experience of what could be next and kind of doing that exploration.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned this because I think that most of us get hung up on, oh, I'm gonna be this when I grow up, or I'm gonna do this, and then that's it. Like you get to that point, and then you're, for some reason, expected to just continue doing that your whole life. And what you bring to the table when you switch careers, like that is a more fulfilled life with adventure. So, so here you are with I'm sorry, with Tala Partners. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit more about what it is that they offer? What resources are available for a military community through them?
Absolutely. So, what I realized was at the end of my military career, I knew that I wanted to do something next, but I didn't know what that is. So, I actually used the GI Bill and
Mhm.
went back to school and went and got a graduate degree where I could go meet and interact with people that had done many types of things in life, many different walks. And what resonated with me was really entrepreneurship, developing and finding and creating a company. And so that's what Tala Partners is. What we do is we're an AI-driven real estate company where we partner with elite professionals to buy and operate apartment buildings around the US.
Okay.
So that allows us to leverage technology, and we go out and buy and turn around some of these distressed properties that makes it better for people to live.
Okay, this is really interesting because you said AI driven. Can you
AI,
break it down for people like moi who,
absolutely.
who know nothing about AI really, aside
So,
from ChatGPT?
you see all of this news about AI and how it's going to change the world, all these scary robots.
Mhm.
And we approach it very differently. We use very specific instances or use cases of it to use it as a tool. Think of it no differently than a phone, different than a computer or a car. We'd like to use it to help search through and evaluate a lot of the information that's out there on the properties, right? Like, how do you find these diamonds in the rough? How do you search through millions and millions of properties in the US? And so we like to use that as one component of our search before we then hand it off to a person to really dig into the details and confirm some of those, assumptions or guesses that the AI model used.
So then you're saying that AI is going to search for that perfect property for me, the consumer, right?
So what we do is we actually partner with people. So we will
Okay.
take on investors, say 10 to 20 investors per property or so. And then we go out and we find that property, form an entity, and then move forward as a partnership, as a group, to then be able to turn around that property, kind of similar to Kelly and Joe, but in
Mhm.
a slightly different style. And
Yeah.
so our goal is really three things. Is we want to provide impact, right? We really focus on properties and neighborhoods that need a little loving, need a little, TLC to bring up the quality of life, to bring up the quality of property. Two, we look for diversification. This shouldn't be the first investment for any of our investors. This is after we've looked into the stock market. Maybe we have a trust, maybe we don't, but this is after the building blocks and foundation is kind of built. And then last, we really focus on passive investing. If there's plenty of real estate opportunities for an individual to go out and buy or purchase and then manage those properties, we focus more on building wealth through a passive means, providing that impact and providing that diversity outside of the stock market.
I'm so glad that you mentioned those 3 points because it answered a lot of questions.
Yeah,
Um, One of the and especially the one about this should not be your first investment
it should
because
not be.
yes,
Absolutely not.
well that speaks volumes to me too as a potential user of your products or your services is because when somebody says like that, hey, this is really not for you, that's telling me like you have a high quality integrity here, and I love working with businesses and business owners that do that. We have a question from LinkedIn. It says, what is the minimum amount of investment?
Absolutely. So, Dolly, we only work with accredited investors. And so we can go into what those regulations and requirements are. But our minimum investment is $50,000. And
Okay.
again, we want to make sure that this is a seasoned person that has been either in real estate or has other assets and has other investments, that this is not the first time that they are either looking into real estate or looking into this asset class for an opportunity to grow.
Yeah. That's actually not bad. I expected a lot more. So 50,000, that's not bad. What are some other things that people should know before reaching out to you, or maybe some things that they need to have prepared before reaching out to you?
Sure. So the big thing is setting those expectations. So we like to have that 50K minimum, the accredited investor, and that this isn't kind of your first investment. Outside of that, we'd love to chat and just get to know people. Part of the relationship in this type of investment is really getting to know each other, because usually the investments are 5 to 8, maybe even up to 10 years. And so our vision when we go out and we find these properties is really a long-term vision. We're not looking to go find a property and flip it or go evict everyone and make it really nice and then sell it. What we look for is long 5, 10, maybe even 15-year properties that we will make money, that we will improve people's lives, and that we make a win-win scenario for everyone on the team. And
Mhm.
so a long-term view is very key for any of our partners or investors.
Okay. What are some of the hurdles that you have seen so far with some of the investors that come to you?
Absolutely. So a lot of it is education and trust and comfort. So I would say the first one, education. We have a lot of educational material on our website, talapartners.com, as well as there's a ton of information out there about real estate, about investing. And so that's really the first stage is we want to make sure that we're talking the same language, that we're at the same point, and that we're comfortable with each other. And so sometimes, that takes a little bit of time. So we love having investor calls and investor conversations just to get to know each other because
Mhm.
we're doing something maybe slightly different than others in the market and other real estate syndicators. And so we want to make sure that whatever the needs are of the investor, that they fit and align with us because maybe we're not the right solution. Maybe there's someone else that is doing something bigger or shorter or has a different process. And so we want to make sure we have that good mesh and that good fit for a long-term relationship with our investors.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. And I also see that on your website on talapartners.com, you also have a blog.
We do. We
Yeah,
do.
with free information. So if people are feeling a little weird about calling you up for, they can go to the blog
Absolutely.
and check that out first.
Absolutely.
Um,
We have a blog and a newsletter.
mhm,
So that's a wonderful kind of nice, soft way to get to know us. We send out our newsletter every couple of weeks. You can learn about Tala Partners, our background, kind of what our process is, without having to commit to jumping on a call, just to kind of learn a little bit more about us.
yeah, that's perfect. Anything else that we should know before reaching out to you for this type of investment?
No, so a lot of it really is making sure that you have a long-term view, that this is, something that isn't your first investment, and that we get to know each other. Trust and relationships are really a big part of this. And so just having a phone call doesn't mean that you need to invest, doesn't mean that you need to, join our group. It's just an introduction just to get to know each other.
Yeah. We have another question. How do you find your investors?
Absolutely. So a lot of it is word of mouth and relationship. We
Mhm.
like to focus on education and kind of teaching people about real estate and going through that journey with them on our platform on talapartners.com. But we also like to have those relationships. It's a lot of personal one-on-one. We're not looking for 300 investors or 1,000 investors per property. We're looking for the right 10 to 20 people to make sure that we're all a team together, that we're all a group, and we all have that long 5 to 10 year vision together.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. And um, is this limited to region?
So great question, Dolly. So what we do is we focus on the Sun Belt and Midwest areas of the United States. Not to say that we wouldn't look outside of that on either any of the coasts, but that's where we're really finding a lot of opportunity to create that impact, to really fulfill a lot of those problems for some of the residents that are in the properties where, maybe you get some tired landlords or some that have a different focus. And so we find that opportunity in those areas really the most fulfilling and the most impactful.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I mean, it's I had just had to ask that question because I know that there are some places or some businesses that are very specific to
Yep,
region. So thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, well, you've given us a lot of information. I love what I'm hearing. I think this is really, really new to me, at least. I haven't really heard of something like this before. Um, and so, can you tell us how is the best way to connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very active on LinkedIn, Patrick Imparato on LinkedIn. You can find me there and I'm happy to interact or we can message. If you'd like to do something a little bit more passive or reach out to us via our website, talapartners.com. We have a couple contact forms there that we can get in touch and email back and forth, as well as a couple education resources. We have a couple videos, some blogs, and some newsletters, really just to kind of get the word out and to have people better understand how we can create impact, diversity outside the stock market, and really get that passive income to grow wealth.
Great, thank you. Oh, the one last question that I have to ask
Yep.
is
Yeah.
from say like right now, I'm ready to go with you and I'm
Yeah.
ready to sign documents from start to finish. How long is that process?
So we need to really build that relationship first.
Hmm.
It's not like maybe a stock or maybe another purchase of a vehicle or something else. We really need to learn and get to know each other. So it needs to be at least 45 days, I would say, is comfortable. I'd like to have a couple conversations with every investor multiple times just to make sure we have that right fit, that we're not using our mortgage money, that we're not using, any type of money that is earmarked for something else.
Mm-hmm.
We have a long-term view, foundational relationship, so that we can have a healthy and collaborative relationship over that long term.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love your answer. Thank you. And
Yeah.
I wish you the best. Thank you so much for making time again for to share this information with us. And hopefully we'll have you back on the show.
Yeah, absolutely, Dali. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, everybody. Well, as you see, we've had some amazing talks today about potential investment opportunities with Joe and his fund, and of course with Tala and Tala Property. I'm sorry, I'm chopping that up with Patrick. But anyway, as always, thank you so much. If you're watching, the recording, please let us know what you think and tune in next time, same time, and enjoy your weekend. Make sure that you're spending time with those who really, truly deserve of your time. Goodbye.